was a good idea, I think he would have come on to defend it. Anne-Marie, how are you?
I'm fine, Gary. How are you?
I'm doing well. So tell me, how's the campaign going?
The campaign is going extremely well. We have gained so much momentum since March the 3rd when we received the nominations, and prior to that Republican nomination, we received the conservative nomination. So since that time, we've been raising money, and we have been getting out there, there has been such a wave of enthusiasm since the health care bill passed because people are so very concerned. The vote on the health care bill was the tipping point, I think, for a lot of concerned citizens in our district.
You know, I was just talking to Craig Shirley, and we were talking about just that. A lot of people, and I, in my travels when I was campaigning across the country, when I was doing the syndicated radio broadcast, I found a lot of people who didn't vote. And when I would ask them why they don't vote, they say because it doesn't make a difference. No matter who gets in, it just stays the same. Well, this election changed that. This guy, the Obamunists are so radical that it has awakened the sleeping giant, to paraphrase a Japanese general who attacked us, or admiral rather. But people are looking around and going, hey, whoa, and they're upset, and they're looking for alternatives, and they're looking for candidates who are truly going to reverse the spending and over-regulating of their lives.
You're absolutely right, Gary. And I want to be clear because I think for a lot of people, this sentiment has been building, and it's been building against both the Republican and the Democratic Party. And so what we're hearing now is an anti-government sentiment where people are saying, enough regulation, enough taxation. I want to be left alone. I want to be able to work hard and succeed, and I want to be able to enjoy the opportunities that this country has always offered us. And those are being eroded, and they have been eroded over the past several years. This is nothing new, but it's so dramatic in the last 14 months. I think that's what people are reacting to right now.
So if you're going to run on a message, and in politics, as you and I know, the elections turn sometimes on as little as 2 or 3% of the electorate. And really, that's the middle ground that you fight for. You know the conservatives are going to support you. Maffei knows the socialists are going to support him. But somewhere in the middle, there are independents, and in the middle of that middle is that 2 or 3% that you need to go, that you need to get. What's your message to them?
My message to them is this country, and what makes this country great, is the individual. It's not the government. We are the government. And as the government grows larger and becomes more powerful, we as individuals become smaller. And that's not the way this country was intended to be. And I think the independence voter realizes that with this final straw, with the health care vote, with cap and trade vote, with the stimulus package vote, all of these votes and the way this administration has proceeded put another burden on that person out there, that person who's just trying to live their life, work hard. It's another level of taxation. It's another regulation. And I think that will appeal to the independence voter.
So if Anne-Marie Buerkle were in Congress representing this district, when they voted to take money from our children and our grandchildren, to borrow money from communist China and from Japan to bail out corporations, would she have said yes or no?
She would have said no.
Would she have said no to the health care bill?
She would have said no loud and clear to the health care bill.
So that kind of gives people an idea of what they're looking for. Public appearances, got anything scheduled yet? Or are you starting to get in that direction?
We are gearing up. What we are going to do over the next several weeks, we're going to conduct a listening tour where I will listen to the voters in the 25th District. We will be in all 4 counties. We'll be out there hearing their concerns, what it is that's important to them, what they're concerned and upset about with regards to the way the government's proceeding. And we'll be out doing that over the next several weeks. I want to hear what they're saying, because part of my platform has been, if you will give me your confidence and elect me and send me to Washington, I will be your voice. And in order to know what to say and how to represent this district, I need to know what you're concerned about and what you want Washington to know about the 25th District.
One of the things that I hate, I despise politicians who will tell you anything to get elected. And a perfect example, and some of the most brilliant politicians we've ever had did that. Bill Clinton, I thought, was a brilliant politician. Not a great leader necessarily, but a brilliant politician. And he could tell one group one thing, and then the same day go talk to another group and tell them just the opposite. For me, it is that you have a value system that you believe in. I've known you when I first started in talk radio. I came here, and I met you then, and you were, I think, in the Common Council at the time. And I thought, that's impressive, because I knew where you stood. And one of the things that a politician can do that I think endears them is stand their ground, be forthright, and say, here, this is what I believe in. The Reagan experience, if you will. Even if I disagree with you, at least I know where you stand.
And that's such a great point, Gary, because we're not going to agree on every issue. But what's important to people is that when you say you believe in something or you will do something, that's what you'll do, and you will not flip-flop, and you will not go back on your word. We signed a pledge, the American Taxpayer Reform Bill. It's a pledge that we will not vote to raise taxes while I'm in Congress. We signed a pledge with the Heritage Foundation. We will vote to repeal the health care bill as it stands. Those are positions that we will not waver from. This election this year is so very important. As you mentioned it, we learned from the last election, every vote does count. But this year is really going to be a referendum on what direction our country's going to take. It's, do we want our government running us, or do we want to retain our rights as individuals? And that's what this election is about. It is an extremely important election for our 25th district and for our country.
Okay, this is my Y2K fear. And I always explain this because in 1999, there were Y2K idiots running around saying planes are going to fall out of the sky, ATM machines aren't going to work, hospitals are going to shut down, the world is going to come to an end because nobody is, and it just like they were idiots, they were morons. So when I come out and say, among other things, I think if we don't get the spending under control, if we don't start looking for ways to cut back, we're going to collapse. We cannot spend at the federal level, borrow at the federal level, print at the federal level money the way we have been, because inevitably we are going to come to the point where we cannot pay this debt. And so now I sound like one of those Y2K idiots, only now it's, instead of the year 2000, it's the federal debt. But I believe, I really do believe, I really am afraid that this is going to happen. What areas would you be willing to cut spending on? I mean, really cut, not Washington cut, really cut.
Well, I think what we need to do, first of all, we talk about jobs in the economy, and I will get to what I would cut. I think we really need to give businesses and individuals a break. And we need to generate more income, grow businesses, stimulate the economy by reducing taxes, by reducing corporate taxes, by making the tax cuts permanent, by eliminating the death tax, eliminating the second tax on dividends. Those opportunities will help businesses to grow and give everyone opportunities for more jobs. But if you're talking about where to cut costs, look at this health care bill. It's going to create 118 more bureaucracies. So that's the first thing. We repeal this health care bill because it is going to cost this country trillions of dollars.
It's going to take you 4 years to repeal that. 2 years in Congress to hold back the spending, a new president, and then you can repeal this thing.
That's correct. The good news is that the bill, although we will be paying taxes on it over the next 4 years, the bill itself will not be implemented for 4 years. So while it seems a daunting task, we have to do that in the interest of this country. I think that the Department of Education, you mentioned the 10th Amendment earlier, or actually your guest did. Craig mentioned the 10th Amendment. The Department of Education, return those decisions to locales, to the state and to the locales. Let them know what's best for their community and what school and what curriculum and how they want their schools to be. That right there is a huge piece, and then a great way to cut costs in the Department of Education.
Money goes where it's treated best. And as long as we continue to raise taxes and increase regulations on labor, making it difficult to hire Americans who do the best work in the country, in the world, then corporations are going to make capital investments replacing people with machines, or they're going to send their jobs overseas where they're not so restrained and it's not so expensive.